Hey, what's up guys? It is your girl, Coach LeighAnn, down here at LeighAnn Fitness in Plainville. Today I'm bringing you an exercise of the week. So I'm bringing you some information on what we're doing in our current training phase. So what we're gonna go over is a clean. So we use our cleans a lot of different ways. We use them with a lot of different implements. We use them to lead from one exercise to another. But today really all I want to do is just teach you with a barbell how it is that you do a clean. So before we even pull out the big guns, we're just going to start with a simple bar. So we have these unloaded, racked up, ready for you to do what you want with them. Now before we even get too far, you might notice that this bar is kind of bent. So this bar is not the best option for you. So if you're picking and you notice that there's this bar that's kind of bent off to the side, your best bet is not to use that particular bar. But for this exact exercise, it doesn't matter too much because we're not putting any weight on it. So all we're going to do to start is really just pattern the movement. So if you've never done a clean before, we need to just understand what the movement should look like before we actually do the clean itself. So when we grab onto the bar, we want our hands to be slightly wider than hip width, and we want to make sure that we're even on the bar. So if we use this knurling to kind of make sure that we're in the same spot, we should be good to go, just because we don't want to grab really far on one side and then not on the other, because one side is going to be way heavier than the other. And also just, we can use the knurling to make sure that we're in the same spot every time. So even if your hands are even, I'm not super wide for one rep and then really close for another. I know I'm doing the exact same thing and I can replicate that every single time. So with our clean, we're just going to pattern it. So if we're doing a hang clean, as we are in this current phase, we're using an RDL. So that assumes that our hips are not changing levels. So when we do an RDL, we sit our hips back, we keep our knees soft, and then we go from there. So as long as we understand the RDL piece, then we can move on to the next piece. So we sit the hips back, eyes come down with us so that our neck stays neutral. Hips come forward, we squeeze our glutes, eyes come up with us. Once we get the RDL, we start to add the high pull to this. So the reason that we're going to do a high pull is because at all points in time, we want this bar to be within centimeters of us so that the always in this position. So if we try reverse bicep curl this bar, whether on the way up or the way down, when we're letting the weight come in front of us, we're shifting the active muscles. So we're more likely to use our back, we're more likely to use other muscles that we don't want to. We want to keep this bar tight to us. So as I say, we've got our RDL, we start to come up into our high pull. So for our high pull, we're driving the elbows up, we're using the shoulders, and we're here. This is my high pull. Once we understand our high pull, to then work into the clean, we just kind of tuck our hands underneath. Same thing on the way back, elbows come back, bar travels back down the body. So say you're standing in front of a wall. There's a wall in front of me. Of course there's not, but let's pretend that there is. I can't go anywhere because the bar is going to stop me. So if there's a wall right here, if I try to reverse bicep curl this bar up, it's going to hit the wall. So I'm forced to go straight up. So I'm here, elbows come up, tuck underneath, come back down. Elbows up, curl under, come back down. So that in effect is our clean. If we add the RDL piece to that, we're here. We start to get the movement pattern down. And what you should notice is that the bar is not coming away from me at any point. I've got that wall in front of me and I'm not allowing myself to hit the wall. So assuming that we get that, then we move on from there. So then we can grab a barbell. So depending upon the exercise, we want to make sure that we have this loaded up well enough that we're forced to create momentum. So if we pick up a bar that's as light as the one that we just did, which I think is 6 pounds, we will be able to do it incorrectly. If we pick up a bar that's heavy enough that we can't use our shoulders, we can't use our biceps, we can't use another muscle group to get it to come up because they're too small and they're too weak, then we're going to be forced to do it correctly. So if I pick up this bar and I don't try to use a clean, if I try to bicep curl it up like this, I'm not going to be able to because I don't have the strength to. So now I have to rely on the momentum that I'm going to create from this bar. So for this particular exercise, I would say the majority of us, if we have 40 pounds on this bar, 20 on either side, that's going to create the correct exercise. So we stand up with our bar first. We reach the bar toward our knees. So now from here, I'm going to use power because this is an explosive exercise. I'm going to pop my hips forward and drive my elbows up at the same time and clean it up. Same thing on the way back down, elbows come back, it comes back down in front of me. So again, I can't do this very well. If it takes me too long, if it's too slow, then I'm not doing it correctly. Same thing, if I let this bar come away from me, now it's going to pull me back down. All I've done is just put a lot of tension on my back, and it pulled my back and it hurts. But if I'm here, I'm good, I'm under control, abs are tight, drive the elbows up, pop the hips forward to get it to come up, we're here, and we come back. Now, for some of us, we're gonna need kind of an in-between step because we're still not gonna get how to create that momentum. So we're gonna take it back to just that high pull that we talked about with the bar. So we're still gonna use the RDL, bring the bar to our knees, and we're just gonna drive elbows up, come back, come back. So to emphasize, I don't want anybody to do this, but if I let go of the bar, it keeps going because I used my hips to create momentum, not my shoulders to pull the bar up. So we'll have to find kind of different levels of what it is that we need to work on. So some of us are gonna need to just start at the bar and stick with the bar for a little while. Maybe, probably not a full phase, but maybe if it's your first day doing cleans, maybe that day, we're just gonna use the bar. Maybe the next time we come back, we're gonna start to add in the high pull, so we start to get that momentum. Then maybe we get it at some point during the workout, and then we start to add in the clean. It depends. Find the level that's right for you, and then build yourself up into the clean. And remember that the muscle group that we're trying to activate here, mostly our glutes, a little bit of hamstrings. So when we're hinging, we feel that pull in the hamstrings to power our hips forward and create that momentum up. It's all about the butt cheeks to get everything to come up from there. Shoulders are kind of an accessory muscle. So when we're trying to use the shoulders to pull the bar up, or biceps, which is not really part of it, to curl it up, then we know that we're doing something wrong. So if at the end of your set you're going, man, my shoulders hurt more than anything else, then we know we need to adjust something. And again, if you're still struggling with it, we always have the option to just put a little bit more weight on that bar so it forces you into the right position. As long as you understand your RDL and keeping your back flat and stuff like that, then we're good to go. So we talked about a lot of stuff here. If you have any questions or you still don't get it, talk to any one of your coaches. We'll help you out, but otherwise, we will see you at your next training session.